Hi guys, welcome to my very first video and welcome to Culture Chapter. Today I'm making this video to make you discover more about the English language and the English culture and to keep you some company. So to do that, I chose to talk about Sonnet 18, known also as Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day by Shakespeare. So to start, Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets, probably composed between 1592 and 1598, published in a quarto in 1609. The sonnets are divided into two sections. The first section is known as the Fair Youth sequence and goes from Sonnet 1 to Sonnet 126, while the second section is known as the Dark Lady sequence and goes from Sonnet 127 to Sonnet 154. These sonnets cover themes like the passage of time, jealousy, love, infidelity, beauty, and mortality. Sonnet 18 is part of the Fair Youth sequence, and it is also the first of the cycle after the opening sequence described as the Procreation sonnets. In fact, in the first 17 sonnets, the persona I addresses to a young man with whom the poet has an intense romantic relationship and who tries to convince this young man to marry and have children, beautiful children that will look like their father, ensuring him immortality. But here, in this sonnet, the poet abandons his quest for the young man to marry and have children and instead glories in the youth's beauty. But before going deeper into the content analysis and into the analysis of the literary devices used by Shakespeare, one important thing to know is that Shakespearean sonnets are constructed of 14 lines. The first 12 lines are divided into 3 stanzas or quatrains, followed by a final couplet. The rhyme scheme of the quatrains is the alternate rhyme scheme, which is AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, and the rhyme scheme of the couplet is GG. This sonnet structure is commonly called the English sonnet or the Shakespearean sonnet to distinguish it from the Italian Petrarchan sonnet form, which has 2 parts. A rhyming octave with the embracing rhyming pattern, which is A, B, B, A, B, B, A, and a rhyming sestet with the alternate rhyming pattern, which is CD, CD, CD. Moreover, Shakespearean sonnets are predominantly written in iambic pentameter, in which each sonnet line consists of 10 syllables. The syllables are divided into 5 pairs called iambs or iambic feet. An iamb is a metrical unit made up of 1 unstressed syllable followed by 1 stressed syllable, so that the stress pattern is 0-1. Now, regarding the content analysis and the analysis of the literary devices used by Shakespeare, we observe that at the beginning of the poem, there is a rhetorical question in which we find a metaphor between summer and the beloved friend, and that we could apply to the whole poem, since it is Sonnet 18 is a long metaphor between this young man, the beloved friend of the poet, and a summer's day. Then in line 3, rough winds are personified since they shake the darling buds of May, and the darling buds are a symbol of beauty. In line 4, also summer is personified, since the persona says, and summer's leaves hath all too short a date, as if summer takes out a lease with nature, and this lease has an expiration date that is too short. In the following line, the eye of a heaven is a metaphor for the sun who shines too hot or too dim. And in line 7, as in line 8, there is the figure of speech of alliteration. And in line 7, for example, we find the sound that is repeated at the beginning of the words fair from fair, while in line 8, the ch sound is repeated in the words like chance, nature, and changing. There is another personification in line 11, and it is the personification of death, since the poet says that death won't claim the young man for his own, as if death were a living being. And the eternal lines, line 12, are a metaphor for poetry. Finally, in line 14, this refers to Sonnet 18 itself. So, as for the meaning of the whole poem, the speaker opens this sonnet with a rhetorical question addressed to his friend. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? And the three quatrains are devoted to such a comparison, in which the poet slowly builds the image of his friend into that of a perfect being. So this young man is first compared to Summer in the first two quatrains, but we understand that at the beginning of the third quatrain, line 9, in which we find a volta, the shift in the poem's subject matter, we understand that he is Summer, this friend is now Summer, meaning that contrary to Summer, his beauty will last forever and never die. So the only thing that the poet can do, and we see this in the couplet, is to ensure that his friend will be forever remembered, and he achieves this goal through this poem, through his verse, saying that so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, which means that as long as mankind can live and read, this poem will live on, ensuring the immortality of his beloved friend. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to discover more about the English language and the English culture, or if you want to discover more about new languages and new cultures, you can find more videos in this channel. So, thank you very much for watching, and see you soon with other videos. Bye!